All right, here we are, question number 30. We made it, the last question in our practice test, and we're asked to find an equation of the line passing through the pair of points 2, 3 and -6, -6. This time, unlike number 29, where we wrote the equation in slope-intercept form, notice here with 30, we're being asked to find the equation and write our final answer in standard form, where ax plus by equals c. Well, again, just to review, remember, in order to write the equation of a line, we need two pieces of information. We need the slope, and we need 1 point. So let's see what information, oh, why did I write point twice? I'm saying things and writing the wrong words. So let me say that again. To write the equation of a line, you need two pieces of information. First is the slope. The second piece of information is the point. So let's see, what do we have here? Well, again, just like 29, it looks like we were given two individual points, so we've got that covered, but we do not have a slope. So first things first, we have to first find the slope between these 2 points by using y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And again, let me, off to the side here, we'll write the 2 points that we are working with, and then we will label them so we can stay organized. So 2 will be x sub 1, and -6 here will be x sub 2. And that leaves, of course, this 3 to be y sub 1, and this -6 to be y sub 2. All right, I think we're ready to go now. Let's plug in these coordinates and see what happens. So y sub 2, based on how we labeled, is -6. So -6 minus y sub 1, which based on our labeling is +3. And that, of course, is all over x sub 2, which we have as -6, minus x sub 1, which we've got labeled as +2. All right, so cleaning this up, we will, of course, distribute and distribute. So we're going to have -6 minus 3 in our numerator, all over -6 minus 2. So we end up with -9 over -8. And of course, as we've seen in previous examples, we know a negative divided by a negative is always positive. So we end up with a slope of +9 over 8. So I'm going to go ahead and write that up here. So our slope is +9 over 8. All right, so let's go ahead and we can get rid of all of this work. And now that we've got our slope, we're going to use the slope that we just found in conjunction with one of the two given points. So let's take a look at the 2 points we have. Well, you might recall, if you watched the previous video, I said if one of these 2 points that's given to you has a 0 in it, maybe a 0 for the x or a 0 for the y, that would be a good point to use because zeros are easy to work with. But if that doesn't happen, then I would look to see, well, is one of my 2 points consist of both a positive x and a positive y? If that's the case, I would choose that point over working with points that have negative coordinates. So in this case, I'm going to use the 2, 3. All right, and let's go ahead and label. So this will be x sub 1, and this, of course, will be y sub 1. And now we are ready to go. So we've got ourselves a point, we've got ourselves a slope, and so we are going to use, of course, the point slope form. And that, of course, is y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. All right, so here we go for the final time. Let's plug in this information. So we have y minus y sub 1, which based on how we labeled our point is going to give us a +3, is equal to m. And we just found m, the slope between these 2 points, to be +9 over 8 times the quantity x minus x sub 1. And x sub 1, based on the point we chose, is +2. All right, so let's go ahead and clean this up just a little bit, and then we'll talk about this fraction here. So we're going to distribute here, and inside the set of parentheses, we're also going to distribute. So we have y minus 3 is equal to 9 over 8 times the quantity x, and when we distribute here, minus 2. All right, so this is what we're working with. Now, you will recall that in class I said you can do one of two things. You can either choose to work with your fraction, meaning at this step you would just distribute, which is perfectly fine. If you're comfortable with your fractions, you can go for it. Or you may choose to clear the fraction, and that's actually what we ended up doing in class. And I said in order to clear the fraction, you have to take a look at your denominator. So in this case, it's an 8, and you're going to multiply in 3 specific places. It's the same 3 places for every single equation using point-slope form. And you're going to multiply in those 3 places by your denominator. So in this case, we're going to multiply the y by 8. We'll multiply this 3 by 8, and we're going to multiply the fraction itself by 8. And this is the process that you will use to clear the denominator and clear the fraction so that we don't have to work with fractions anymore. So let's go ahead and see what happens here. Well, 8 times y gives us 8y. We have our minus sign, so minus, and of course 8 times 3 gives us 24 is equal to, and the whole reason that we are multiplying by 8 is so that we can say the 8 and 8 cancel, and the only thing we have left is the numerator. So in this case, just 9 times the quantity x minus 2. And now you can see that we've got ourselves an equation where there are no fractions, and that tends to put us at ease, right? If we don't see fractions, we can handle the equation. So cleaning up the right-hand side here, we're going to distribute. So we have 8y minus 24 is equal to 9x minus 18. And I'm going to go ahead and just finish up here. So I'm going to just rewrite this exact line up here so we have a little bit more room to work with. So 8y minus 24 is equal to 9x minus 8. All right, so we have one of two options here. Using this line, we can either put the equation in slope-intercept form, meaning y equals mx plus b, or we can put this equation in standard form, meaning ax plus by equals c. So let's go back to the original question and see what they want. They want us to put this thing in standard form, meaning let's get the x and the y on one side and everything else on the other. So let's see how we can do this. So first things first, we can go ahead and add, how about 24 to both sides? And when we add 24 to both sides, and you know what? I think I made a little mistake here. I didn't distribute properly, did I? So 9 times x is 9x. 9 times negative 2 is not negative 8, it's negative 18. Where was my head? All right, so I think now we're on the right track. So again, I just moved this whole line up here. So we had 8y minus 24 equals 9x minus 18. Now I think we're good to go. So when we add 24 to both sides, well, negative 24 plus 24 is now gone. So we have 8y on the left is equal to 9x, and negative 18 plus 24 is a positive 6. And so last step here is let's get that x and y on the same side, and to do that all we have to do is subtract 9x from both sides, and when we do we end up with negative 9x plus 8y is equal to positive 6. So here's standard form. We have our ax plus by is equal to c. So hopefully this is one of our options here. So negative 9x plus 8y equals 6. Yeah, I think it is option A. So there we have it. We have question 30, writing the equation in standard form, given these 2 points, we first found the slope, and then we used that slope that we found with one of the points, plugged them into point slope form, worked it out, and put our final answer in standard form. All right, so I'll go ahead and do a quick wrap up in a video just after this to kind of go over some details for you, but otherwise I will see you in class.